Hello, I am Dan Stapleton, and this is the IGN review discussion for Bloodborne. With me here is Chloe Rad.
Hey guys.
Marty Sleva.
Hey!
And our reviewer, Brandon Terrell.
Hello.
Brandon, you gave this game a 9.1 for amazing.
I sure did.
And here is what you said.
Bloodborne is an amazing, exacting, and exhausting pilgrimage through a gorgeous land that imposes the feeling of approaching the bottom of a descent into madness. Though extended load times and minor frame rate hitches have an effect on the pacing, it's otherwise an intensely challenging and rewarding game. There's an incredible power to unlocking its mysteries and in succeeding, despite its demand for a pound of your flesh. For more on Bloodborne, stick with IGN.
Is this a good game for a new player who has never played any of the 3 previous games in the sort of series? Is this the good place for them to jump in, or should they go back and play the others first?
If you're trying to get into a From game, like this is a much better place to join than Dark Souls 2 was to Dark Souls, right? Like this is a completely new, very familiar but completely new combat system. You know, things are different, things behave differently. There's a different pace and a different cadence to everything.
Yeah.
And so if you go to Dark Souls and then play Dark Souls, right? Because it's sort of the proto From game, and then come to Bloodborne, it's going to be a very sort of jostling experience.
Yeah, totally.
The combat's a lot more accessible, I think.
Yeah.
So it definitely, for newcomers to the series, is I think a good starting point.
Yeah, and From streamlined a lot of, there's far fewer statistics in the game.
Yeah.
There's fewer weapons, like the inventory system's kind of streamlined. Everything is streamlined a bit. That's not to say things aren't opaque, and things aren't frustrating, and things aren't infuriating, which, Dan, I know you had that problem with.
I did have a very bad experience trying to get into this game, somewhat famously now.
Yeah. Infamously.
Infamously.
No, I'm kind of a solitary gamer by nature. I also don't like consulting guides. I like to go into a game and discover it for myself, and not be told what to do. I want a game to kind of give me the basic ideas and then say, okay, now you know what to do, go do it. I feel like Bloodborne does a terrible, terrible job of introducing you to its tools and giving you an opportunity to challenge yourself with its puzzles. Instead, like you're talking about the shortcuts. I never found the shortcuts in the first area, so I saw the big gate there, but saying this does not open from this side, and I tried to find the entrance, but I was just fumbling around, had no idea of how to get there. I never found it, so I spent way too much time just trying to get to that first checkpoint behind the boss, which was really frustrating because you're always going back to the beginning. Basically, I think what would really help if you're planning to get into this game and have not played any of the previous games, I think the essential thing is don't count on Bloodborne to teach you how to play it. Find someone else to teach you how to play it, whether that's a friend who's already experienced who can give you a tip to, like, okay, you're doing this wrong, or just go to a guide, go to a wiki, go to a walkthrough.
Yeah.
Which I find disappointing because that's not how I like to discover my way through games.
But there is the asynchronous multiplayer element, where people can leave each other little notes and hints and stuff, and I found that really helpful my first time playing Dark Souls. And
even here too, right? Because those bloodstains show where potential danger is.
Yeah, you see a lot of those,
Pro tip, everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Even in the Hunter's Dream, people were jumping off to kill
Yeah,
them.
so I'm seeing all these like tombstones in the Hunter's Dream. I was like, what are you guys doing?
This is a safe area.
It's like there must be something coming up, right?
Yeah.
Like a big eagle drops a rock on you or something like that.
No, it's weird. Like I can empathize with your point because we were all there at one point. I mean, we've put hundreds of hours into the series by now, but when I first booted up Dark Souls to write the guide for IGN, I was like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, and I hated it for the first 10 hours.
I had the same reaction.
Yeah, totally.
So what is your sage wisdom to pass down to people who are interested? Like you've told them, hey, this is an amazing game, you should play it. How do you advise that they get into it without suffering the way I did because I didn't know what I was doing?
I think inherently suffering is part of the process of a From Software game. I think. I respect your opinion that you didn't like it and all that. I just wish I could like stand over your shoulder and sort of like coach you through it. But that's not how I like to play games, and that's not how I would want someone to have to play this game. I love to figure stuff out on my own. So it is frustrating at times, and in Dark Souls, I'm trying to think back to when I started Dark Souls, it was very frustrating. I just wish I had someone to tell me what I was doing and what this means. time and patience and perseverance are really like your best tools in a From Software game. Watching things, understanding how they work, getting acquainted with it, and then taking your time, really.
Marty, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. A lot of it is also in those early areas in the game, really learn the combat mechanics, learn how to bob and weave, learn how your weapons transform, learn how the regain system works. Like gain those chops on the dumb enemies at the beginning of the game. And the dumb enemies are still going to kill you. The dumb enemies still kill me every once in a while. I'll still be back in Yharnam, and I'll still die at like the first set of villagers.
And then, then I just put my head in my hands, and I'm like, well,
I've
beaten this.
Yeah.
I mean, my experience with that is, I mean, the problem I experienced was that you die, and then all the enemies come back. And even though all the items you spent to get past them are gone.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just you're fighting the exact same guys in the exact same place. It feels like Groundhog Day hell.
Yeah, but you keep.
But the Souls games are about like mastery of a system, and that's part of.
Right, and in Groundhog Day, Bill Murray learned how to play the piano, but he was still in hell.
Yeah.
So the point is, it's
enjoying
repetitive.
that hell is part of what makes me love these games. Like I loved Dark Souls the first time I played. Yeah. Like I had no.
Well, by the end of the game, it's easily my favorite game of the last generation.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, I loved it. But I remember that first uneasy step.
I do think Dark Souls did a little bit more with the level design to kind of train new players, like to get them used to like what the game had in store for them. Like you're in Firelink Shrine after the initial tutorial area, and you go down to the catacombs. Everyone goes down to the graveyard, and they just get destroyed by those skeletons. And they're like, oh, like enemies don't scale with me. I'm not supposed to be down here.
Yeah.
And they move on.
Yeah, and a lot of it is at that early stage. Keep going back to Hunter's Dream and keep leveling up and
grind
keep
if you have
from
to.
your mistakes.
Yeah,
it's a bummer. But also, you mentioned earlier, it's not for everyone. That goes for literally every video game ever.
But no game is for. Well, maybe Tetris. I don't know.
Tetris. I'm sure someone hates Tetris.
Yeah. There's always that one guy.
But anyway, so the message here is it's an amazing game if you have the patience to get through.
Effort.
Yeah, beware of don't fall in the same trap I did. Get help because if you're getting frustrated, get help because otherwise you're going to rage quit.
Can we film a Bloodborne PSA right now?
We call it getting frustrated.
I think you and I need help. We just spent so many hours beating this game.
I'm gonna sleep forever right now.
So that's what we think. For more on Bloodborne, please stay with IGN because we've got lots of it.